My boyka, what up? Bienvenido and welcome to another build. We're gonna build on blood lineage, family and houses, tentacle, on and on and on. Ha ha. My boyka, hey, what up? Bienvenido and welcome. I'm here getting ready to do a little build here. Very important build because I had a very interesting week and weekend. Shout out to my Mugdal, my one of my first teachers, master teachers, and that is Frank Bowen Abdul Latif. Yeah, Abdul Latif. And also shout out to Ishmael, another elder, you know what I'm saying? Um, and that's the way we do it. You know what I'm saying? We're sticky. Muysar. If you look at the title, Muysar, it's like being sticky. We stick to each other. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the way we were living for and by each other. You know, we come from that school, living for and by each other. Okay, and that's important. We're gonna. So I'm gonna go into detail because I've been thinking because of the experiences that I'm going through. You know, I'm looking at it, the evidence and the experiences that I'm going through, especially with family. And remember, that's one of the dynamics. You have to take care of your family, and you have to again impact the other dynamics in humanity. At the same time, with your family, you have to, protect your legacy. You know what I'm saying? Protect your legacy and make sure that everything is, um, where it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? We've gone into these narratives that, oh, excuse me one second. We've gone into these narratives. We got into these, we experienced certain things in this civilization that has broken the family apart. It's not time Musad. It's not sticky anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's not Yasar family. And so we're you know what I'm saying, and I seen it firsthand what happened with my family. So I'm gonna be vulnerable here. Is that I have granddaughters and I love them. And I have daughters, gave me granddaughters, right? And with my daughters, the relationship, and not that I don't get along with their mates or anything like that, I get along with them. But what I come to find out, what I experience is that I don't know anything about their family, their mates' family. So it's that connection, the facility is broken there. Is you know what I'm saying? Because there's no tie in to a Sicily, a house. You see, I'm Ahlul Bayt. I'm family of the house. I'm belong to certain house that I gravitated towards, like the tent of Kidar. You know what I'm saying? That house. You know what I'm saying? When I was 17 years old and grew up. So I've met a lot of brothers and sisters that grew up in the tent of Kidar, and we established a relationship to this day. 45 years later, we're meeting again with each other, and they have grandchildren. They have children. You know what I'm saying? We should. Oh, that's the purpose of these festivity. You know that these festivities in ancient time was because you had all these families, and that festivity, hoping that your child of age is going to see another child, an opposite sex, a child of that age, and the lights goes on, being, then that's when the conversation comes in between the parents. That's, they call that almost in a way arranged marriages, but it's not arranged like okay, you're my daughter, he has a son, you're gonna marry. No, you let them find within that festival that the houses are all together in there. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, we're holding a festivity, right? And in that festivity, like a Zet festival, you have all these families that tie it back to Nuwapu and tie it back to the Ansar, or the African Sufi, or the Ansar ties it back then, right? These houses. Oh, I knew your grandfather. Oh, I knew your father. Yeah, he was an Ansar. Oh, these are your children. All right, you let them play, right? Then of course the conversation, because not everybody in the tribe families get along with everybody. You know that? They just don't. So, but the thing is to trace it back to a origin, what they call a Sicilla. That, you know what I'm saying? That's the way it was done in the past. That's the way it was done. Church, through churches and Israelite camps and church. That's the way it was done. And that's where we have to find again, because you family create communities. So when you have families getting together and they're on the same page, they have the same historical background that they can share with the children, the legacy, the children. You know what I'm saying? So if I have my granddaughters and I take them to a Zed festival and their other grandkids, their age, and they're meeting, you know what I'm saying? They're playing. When they get older, it's like, oh, and and you get them into that mode of, you could choose within this festival, you could choose here whatever is to your liking. You know, you like that green eyes, or you like that dark hair, whatever you want in our in our tribe exists. They don't have to go outside. So, and that's important, because then you get to know family. So when it comes to birthing ceremonies, it comes for funeral, right? All that family gets together. It's a tribal thing, but the tribal thing, we have to marry within that tribe, because or unless you're gonna bring people from the out and they become part of your tribe, you know what I'm saying? But the connection there, still gonna be missing, because an Ansar connection. I've met young men, single, good-looking young men in South Carolina, who father was Ansars, and they're single, and they're like, they can't find the right mate. And I'm like, wow, well, you should be going to these festivals, right? And find and see who you're gonna gravitate to. That should have been knowing you at a younger age. You know what I'm saying? That's the way we did it at Ansar. All the children was playing together, and already they were choosing out already who's gonna be mates to who. They already knew it. They could see it because they get along. And then the family has to get along. You know what I'm saying? This is building a nation. And this is something that is blood lineage, you know what I'm saying? And which I want to go into real quickly. I'll share my screen and bring it up. I'm going to read it. Um, so this is a conversation, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I got to correct a lot of things, and you see it through experiment, through experiences. So there were certain experiences that, I'm like, why, it's funny. I mean, I don't know this people's family. I don't know who they are. I don't know if we all have a picnic, if the family's going to get along. I don't know how. We have no connection, no family lineage connection, which is very important. That's one of the dynamics of knowing how to take care of family, knowing how to create, in your family structure, and knowing how to expand. And that's Papa Out. Out. I mean, that's Papa Out expansion. And Ashuk. You know what I'm saying? That's expansion. So let me read from here. This is from the introduction to the nature, the laws of nature continue. And these are some of the laws. You see, nature have certain laws and protocols, you know what I'm saying? And being up on how we who's 1 second. Okay, I'll just do it there like that. Yeah, it's up. Here it is. It's up. Okay, so here we go. Listen again to reason. Listen, El Lakum, right? El. Yeah, listen to reason. In nature sign called what they call noon in nature science, right? In the noon, racial brothers and sisters do not call each other brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? But we got to get out of that. No, but this is nature science. This is from that perspective, from that school of thought. Because spiritually, those words are unacceptable appellations because they have been discredited and likewise disgraced by in biblical term Cain. Cain was Abel's brother and Cain murdered Abel. Jacob was Esau's brother and Jacob stole the heritage of Esau. And Seth was Osiris' brother and Seth murdered Osiris. So you see this play on words, right? When they use the word brother and sisters. So you see this play on words. So just to kill that, you know what I'm saying? And just to, again, like an alchemist, change things, we don't refer to each other as brothers and sisters. So according to the annals of religion and mythology, now this is in the annals and mythology, so we got to be careful. Hence, advocate of the noon, like the science in this book, we call each other kin. That's my kin. You know, kin Al, or kin Bu, kin Su, or kin, whatever the racial relative name is. If a person is a different human race, he's also advocate of noon. He or she is called friend instead of a kin. He's a friend. Like the mafia, he's a friend of ours. You know what I'm saying? But that's a kin is one born. It's a kindred, right? So if a person of a different human race is also an advocate of noon, he or she is called friend instead of a kin, because a race of human beings, right, or a race of any beings is the one being. We got to look at it all when of each individual is truly part of it. Where we as an individual, right, contract individual is part of a whole being. And you see this. Now, let me finish this paragraph and I'm going to explain to you what I mean. And you can see this in experimentation. So according to this is the relativity laws of nature in the nature. This is called the relativity law. One individual of an ethnic race or of that is only a part of that. Okay, now this is going into this venue and this science, okay? Because we do teach everybody's humanity. There's only one race, and it's called the human race. But that human race has different aspects of that race, different veins, branches. We're in the same tree, but a different branch. Now, all persons of that race are indeed the whole being. All persons of it. So I'm explaining to you how this is so true. And all persons of that race are indeed the whole being, the whole part, because absolute nature is the only whole being, right? So humanity, or all these different expressions of humanity, right? Huge in the expression is part of the whole being, right? Because absolute nature is that whole being. So we are in it, right? And that can exist since it is all. Let that be remembered always and let it be known, right? Now the purpose of kindred. Now the reason why. Now let me clarify. Now not clarify, but let me just expound on this, amplify this a little more. And that is, you see, and this has happened. This is through experience. There was in what they were in New York and Brooklyn. I forgot Howard Beach. Anybody remember? And this has happened many times. Many times you can see this in many different races and stuff. But I'm just gonna use a story because this is the one that happened that I was aware of that I could tie it in. So in Howard Beach, there was brother, an African American brother, that went into the neighborhood, right, and committed an antisocial act in the community of an Italian community. That so the Italian community got all worked up. Well, they got together a group, right? A group got together to get busy. They're gonna look for the African American. So when they went out to the street, the first African American they saw, they gave him a beat down. They even killed him. He ran into the highway and got killed because that African American kin was not the one that committed the antisocial act. He wasn't even there. He don't know nothing about it. He was visiting an Italian girl in the neighborhood that she used to like to hang out with African Americans. So he went to visit. But you see, people, when they see you, you are a representative of your whole group that you belong to. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Latino and I go to a Chinese spot and I act dumb and I do an antisocial act, they're gonna look at all Hispanics, right? They're gonna look at all people that looks like your phenotype and talks like you, of your group. They're gonna look at the whole group, and that's what they're speaking about. How we are part representative of that whole group. So I just want to go further in the lesson, listen to reason on these laws. The purpose of kindred are origin as well as relativity, unity, life, inheritance, participation, and also identity by nature. That's the purpose of kindred. Remember, the purpose is the law, is the origin. Hence, the law of kindred relates this, and these are the vows of the law of kindred. If an individual transgresses, that is, breach or breaks a law of nature, does a wrong deed to self or someone else, and the transgressor himself or herself does not account for, pay the penalty for, right, for the evil or the transgression voluntarily or by force from others, the penalty for the transgressions because of origin and affinity and relativity and unity, life, inheritance, participation, and identity of nature will fall upon the kindred, a member or members of the family or ethnic race of the lawbreaker. You getting the picture? The same way each time that conditions are the same and in accord with the nature of nature. And this is one reason why every responsible person existing should know the laws of nature and stand on his or her own merits, positive and negative, and stop trying to put the blame off on some other innocent person. Because you are doing your own kind and kindred, your own family, and your own ethnic race, or both, great harm and a disservice. When you fall to account for your own, when you fall to account for your own wrongnesses to others, let that be remembered always. You know what I'm saying? This is also when you go into the 19 courses, it's taught. You know what I'm saying? This is the antisocial characteristics which causes harm. But this is taking it further. This is saying that if you're an antisocial person and you're committing these acts, the act, and if you don't pay for these acts by penalty, either by force or by involuntarily, it's gonna fall on either a member of your family or it's gonna fall on a member of your ethnic race, ethnicity, and that race. You know what I'm saying? Because those are the laws of nature. See, that's what happened in Howard Beach. Those are the laws of nature. You know what I'm saying? So to be conscientious of this is very important. You know what I'm saying? How you break that cycle. You know what I'm saying? So that's how important is lineage in terms of have knowing of what lineages is and knowing that the kindreds and kin and knowing how that works. So when you feel safe and secure that you know the family, things are gonna happen that happens, but you know the other family that your bloodline is getting involved with as far as ethnic is concerned, right? And relativity, you know. So and listen to reason. So if the wrongness is done to self or your family for yourself, the penalty for it falls upon yourself and your family. Okay. So if the breach of natural law is done to some other member or members of your own ethnic race, by yourself, the penalty for it falls upon yourself and your family. Now, if the breach of natural law by you is done to a member or members of an ethnic race other than your own, the penalty will fall upon yourself and your family or your ethnic race by the laws of nature that enforce in that their enforcement via the balance of powers process. So the kindred law of nature pertains to all individual races of individuals, colors, or individuals, creed or individuals. The law of kindred was one of the many laws of nature, right? Or the laws of blood lineage, meaning, of course, people of the same family in a racial tree. So then the adage that blood is thicker than water is very true. Let it be remembered, let it be remembered always. So that's a very important law. I just wanted to bring that out. That's in the nature and nature, nature and nature law. Okay. Was I sharing all that? Well, anyway, you get the picture, right? Right? Um, Acknowledgement here, Bondo. Yes, Ale Libra, let it always be remembered. Libra cycle. Yes, salud. Salud, mi hermano, Rahuba. Yes, yes. So, this, how to use these laws in today's day and time. You know what I'm saying? And understanding how blood is thicker than water, yes. And how to use these blood lineages, this kin and ethnic group, and also how to how to set your family in a safe and natural law conscientious, paradigm. How to create this. You know what I'm saying? And again, it has a lot to do. Again, that's the reason why we have these festivals. It's the reason why you have, because families get to know families. And then the children are playing by themselves and they're getting to know. I remember when I was young, right? And there was a party in the house and family per picnic, and there was girls my age. And we would, it was a little like sparkles in the eyes, especially at the time. Like, I wanted, if it was a tribal thing, then the family are aware of this because the elders look at this and says, I think those two might make a great couple. Those two are beginning to click in there. So let the negotiation start. Negotiate because the dowry, there's things involved with dowry and knowing and getting to know each family. And damn, you come from me, okay, where your family from, your family Puerto Rico, what town, whatever. You're getting to know the story of the other family and your family, and getting to know what commonality is there, if there's any, that they can rest their foundation on. You know what I'm saying? So again, to all my brothers, not brothers, to all my kindreds out there, right? I gotta get it in my mind now. You know what I'm saying? To all my kins out there, kindreds out there, right? And to all humanity, blood lineages, family, houses are very, very, very important when it comes to amalgamating or marriages, when it comes to expanding, to expand your borders. Because when you have more families thinking like this and houses and create this paradigm, it becomes habitual. And then humanity, you see all tribes and nations, you see humanity, what I'm saying, being uplifted. You see humanity better off. You know what I'm saying? Because now the lines of communications are there. Reality, affinity is strong. The reality is strong in the communication. And so, you know, they tie back to the family. You see this a lot. I've been looking at Borgia, and you look at some of these families in Vatican cities, houses of Orange, or Harrisburgs, and this is how they really, really do it. I mean, this is how they do it. And I think this is what leading us to get back. Because I'm telling you, I did the podcast when you have the different love, right? It's a lot of times people think they're in love. They're just infatuated. That burns out, you know. But they don't have that divine, what they call the divine caring, the ashuk. They just habub. They don't have the ashuk with the divine. That knowing that this vibration, ashuk, it's expanding, papa ud. You know what I'm saying? And the venue. So, being very, very, very smart and very careful. And now that I see, expand, get to know your tribe, go to the or the pueblo you from, your city, whatever, and see festivals going on, whatever. And there's children out there, bring your grandkids there. You know what I'm saying? Even when they get to the age of, especially when they're 13 years old, 10 or 13, let me tell you something. You put them out there in the festival with other 30, they get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? You know, hopefully, and then having the elders seeing this. Someone has to see what's going on. If it happened, see it, and then now they go the get the families together in negotiation. You know what I'm saying? You know, negotiate things. You know what I'm saying? So okay, they're at that age, and blah 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 blah. Maybe your daughter could be chaperone, and or my grandson could be chaperone. You know what I'm saying? And take them out to the theaters or whatever. They have to be chaperone. Has to be chaperone. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, we getting back. That's the way they did it back then. You know, our young lady, my granddaughters are gonna be chaperone wherever they're gonna go. They have to be chaperone. I don't believe in that. I don't trust anyone. I live on truth, and truth. One of the truth that puzzles that fit together is having that consideration, not trusting because they're gonna mess it up, but having that foundation, that truth. And I know you, and I'm gonna make protect you. And I'm gonna make sure everything is right. So when you have that chaperone there, and then that's when they start, and then you start remember because when you deal with marriage again, and I do podcasts on that, it's actually those are business terms. You know what I'm saying? You're bringing one family with another family and got to make sure with a marriage, all business term. Fiance is to get the finance together and let's see. You know what I'm saying? Then comes the big wedding, and whatever, or the ceremony, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And establish the future for the legacy because they're gonna procreate. You know what I'm saying? Make sure everything right. This is tribal. This is how it's been done in the tribe. This is tribal. You know what I'm saying? We got to get back into this. This is, and I see, and the reason why I say this is because experience, man, experience. I love my daughters, and my son-in-law is good. My oldest daughter, I'm saying cool, and I know his mother, but I don't know the whole family. His family never got together with my family in an event as to know each other. Because a lot of times, what can happen, you see, you carry genetics of your family, the other, your partner have a lot of times the family don't get along, that shit comes out. You could be sitting in the couch, she looks at you and smacks you, bah! Or you look at her and say like, oh, what happened here? What I got myself? It's because of families, the blood, the personalities are coming out of you and her, and they're not, you know what I'm saying? But when you got families get along, you know what I'm saying, that were, on the same town, pueblo, they got along, and then that happens, it's a beautiful thing. Even if it don't last, but the children, when they say, yeah, I am from here, they have a foundation. My parents are from here and there. You know what I'm saying? I look at my parents. Well, they're both from the island of Borinquen, that's for sure. But one is from Carolina and the other one is from Maunabo. But imagine if my mother in Arroyo, Maunabo, were married. I have now a stronger tie to a location, a stronger tie, you know what I'm saying, to Arroyo. You know what I'm saying? To Maunabo, Arroyo. Stronger tie. So we today, Ansar, we come from the tent of Kidar. We made connections under that tent, right? And now we've gotten to a point where we become elders. So we got grandchildren, children and grandchildren, whatever. You want to make sure that we get into these festivals. They're having a Zet festival, whatever. I don't know if I could bring my grandkids. They're too small right now. Or maybe I could bring my grandsons, 13 years, just to see, you know what I'm saying, if there's a possibility of someone there that he can gravitate towards. Become and know that you have an extension of a family. You have an extension. And then when that amalgamate and bloodline get involved, now you have a blood connection with family. You know what I'm saying? Muysar. And we sticky like that. You know what I'm saying? And we sticky like that. You still have a lot of families within who came out of the Ansar that married into our Panabayananans family, his children, whatever, and you see that connection there. You know what I'm saying? Very, very important. We need to honor that. We need to work that. You know what I'm saying? That's expansion. That's Papaut. That's the door to Payananin. Papaut. And the door to Papaut is Ashuk, right? All the habub gonna lead you to Ashuk. You're gonna be in love, Ashuk, and that's gonna open the door. Papaut expansion that's gonna open the door to Panabayanan's heart. Equipped. You know what I'm saying? This is important. because we're setting family tribe. We're setting up family lineages, and we're now the foundation is strong. Foundation is strong. We all could point. I can be with my elders, and we all could say like, yes, we all were underneath that tent. We came from the tent of Kedar. We worked there. We raised the children there. We have children in there. We raised the children in there. That was when, I had my love in there, my first love. And that's how what we did. We're sticky like that. And then now, like I said, I've met young men that their father were Ansars, right? And now they're like, they want to connect. They want to connect because we got a strong hit. That's our history. You gotta know our history. It's okay to know again history, to know what's missing and lost. To in our history is the real deal. We're setting that storyline. We're setting that lineage, and it's important when you deal with the houses. It's important. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to really build on. You know what I'm saying? And just been here for 30 minutes, and that's okay. I'll keep it short. Peace and blessings to everybody. Hey. Thank you, Tahaka. I think the build that I had also with Hansu, yeah, Nyame, Hansu Ray, Nyame Ray. Yeah, people are liking that. I'm getting good reviews on that. Because like again, it's not to discredit anybody, out there and anything, but it's just to set the record straight. Because a lot of these people that, they expose themselves. And then they start talking submersively about our master teacher, you know what I'm saying? A man that we revered, our master teacher. You're not disrespecting him, you're disrespecting us. And I told that. I spoken to that a lot. And I let Sarnetta know, I let everybody know. Captain Tazar, I let him know. You're not disrespecting by you speaking like that submersively, and you're not disrespecting that master, the master teacher, Panaba Yananin. You're disrespecting me. You're disrespecting my tribe. You trying to say that I was that dumb and stupid and duped? No. That's just university. I went to NYU also. You know what I'm saying? I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was learning, damn it. You know what I'm saying? And I had already this want to create. You know what brought me to the Ansar Law? What really sealed the deal? Well, first of all, it was with Abdul Latif. He showed me the 4 statues. When I went out there and I met the old man, he told me to move on in. Because when I first entered into the Bushwick, see, I'm from the Bronx, from the hood. People think everybody is all together, but no, it's backstabbers out there. Even though the answer, you got to be careful. But the neighborhood, we had no control over the neighborhood. The stores weren't ours. There was no, we couldn't dress the way we wanted to dress. When I went into the Ansar Law University in that community, it was stepping into a whole different cultural paradigm. It was cultural, the music, the scent, and the unity. The unity, you know, that was there. Then when we got under the tent, we fought a lot. No doubt about it. We argued a lot. But still, at the end of the day, you could have an argument with brother, but at the end of the day, when you're out there in the world propagating and something went down, that brother had your back. You know why? Because he understand natural nature, blood lineage. You understand if you attack by having that Jalabi and Emma, I have a Jalabi and Emma too. I'm going to be attacked. I'm going to be attacked. If I walk anywhere and somebody attacks Hispanic, Boricuas, guess what? And you know Hispanic and Boricua, or let's say African American, and you don't, and you're not part of it, but you don't, saying you don't come to that person aid, guess what? You're an open target. What makes you think when you walking down there not gonna? Of course, you're not going to come to the aid somebody acting like a fool. Antisocial people are going to have to deal with it. But you need to find out what's going on. Are they being attacked because of their ethnics, or they're being attacked because they did an antisocial act? So now that person, let me take it, but that person has to pay for it. Personally, that person, or not the family, on and on and on. But I ain't gonna pay for it. No, you gotta pay for it. You did that act. But if it's something innocent, it's something because you're attacked by what the clothes you wear or how you speak, right? Or you give out all hillbilly how you speak, then no, no, that's not right. That's not right at all. You know what I'm saying? That is not right at all. You know. So the attacked, and I commends and Hansu, he's banging back. He says, nah, man, nah, we ain't gonna go for it. We're not gonna go for it because you're insulting me. You're insulting our culture. You're insulting all of us. When we build a community, we build a university, an institution. Yeah, we had to move it. We went to Georgia and Eatonton, and they destroyed it. But you know something? They think that they destroyed it, but they just dispersed and spread it out. Now you find us all over Stone Mountain in North Carolina, South Carolina. You find us all over now. Now we just and we have our festivals that we come together. You know, there's a Z festival coming on June the 25th, which is our new year. June the 26th, the day before, is that Z festival in Stone Mountain. You know, I'm gonna see if I can make it to that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's important. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we are. You know, this is a very strong foundation. You know, we paved the way. This is a very strong foundation that we have. So when you got people attacking it, you got to think about, why are you attacking that with narrative that you just reading hearsay because you don't know, you weren't there. I ain't gonna speak on it because I wasn't there. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I see the evidence. I see what this can be. I see how this is in reality. You know what I'm saying? In reality. And they're always trying to take that away from us as a people. You know what I'm saying? Because, and it's not always an outside, it's always within ourselves that are complicit, either sellout, complicit, or just they're suppressive personality. They come from they got antisocial characteristic. We got to clean that up. We got to clean this antisocial characteristic in ourselves. So make sure that it's not external. And we got to stop that outside of ourselves. We got to expose that and show how important it is to have that in control, these antisocial characteristics in control, because it's going to harm and destroy all humanity. All humanity. Not just us, all of them. All of us. You know? That's what's happening with the planet right now. Because it's antisocial characteristics comes in, and then those dynamics starts falling apart, and now our environment is suffering because you know what I'm saying? Natural nature is like not giving up. Natural nature is going to do what it do, but we have the ability to assist or to live within natural nature. We thinking we're anti-natural or unnatural. There's no such thing. It's still natural, but it's the antisocial, that detrimental, that other part of natural, right? That is there, and you can use it to construct something, but you have to look at you have to limit the amount of harm that it does. If you're too chaotic and it creates too much of a harm to the dynamics, then it's not right. It's evil. It's the opposite of live. It's evil. The opposite of live. You know, it's a dichotomy going on here in natural nature. It alternates. So we have to learn these laws, even within ourselves and our families. You know, and so that's what's happening even with the conscious community. Your antisocial characteristic is exposed. You know, again, remember, like I said, they always say, well, everybody knows Dr. York did that. Everybody says Dr. York did that. Who's everybody? You? Everybody knows he did it. Who? You? He did it to you? Your experience? Who's everybody? That's that antisocial characteristic. That's what they do. That's what they do. They call that in logical fallacy hasty generalization or the bandwagon effect. or the hasty generally. They hasty generalize things. Those are logical fallacies. You see, we gotta study. That's the reason why I do these podcasts, because I want to introduce these things that are being studied in the universities, in our multiversities, that you can find it in Pataruk. You can find this in actual facts. You can find it in the Ansar school and Sufi. You can find this in our culture. It's genetic doctrine, genetically enhanced doctrine. You know, we all want to survive. We all social. We're social beings, domicile, social being. But then that antisocial characteristic comes in and destroy things. Unnecessary. Not a necessity, not necessary, unnecessary destruction of things that don't need to be destroyed. You know. So again, in the Black conscious community, you see this happening. You see this. And I know Sarnetta uses a lot of that too, because like he says, I'm the Don King, I'm a chess player, and I get people with debates. That's his thing. That's his thing. I don't fall. Hey, that's how you want to roll. That's on your roll. But the minute you start exhibiting, and isn't even the power, you can send this to them. Even when you start exhibiting antisocial characteristics, you expose yourself. I got to put you straight. You see? Because I'm an elder. I got to put you straight, man. I got to say, like, because I don't want that in me. I can't associate with you if this is the way you're going to act. You're disrespecting me. What are you thinking inside of your head? When you said I'm a student, you know, I'm a master, I'm a spiritual master trained by Panabayananin from the age of 17, you know. And Abdul Latif helped train me too, gave me the ropes here and there. And this day I speak to my elder Ishmael, who's still to this day, I'm still learning and learning. Then I have those that consider me their teachers, Khansu, Alex, I learned from him. You know what I'm saying? We learn from each other. Bondo, if a conversation, I learned from him. You know, I learned that affinity that he has, you know, that quality. These are social beings. Not, and why would I want to get together with an antisocial person when I know they can't be helped? And it's always negative. You know what I'm saying? I never had any problem with Sonetta before. The only problem that I do have with Sonetta is that bullshit that he pulls. That everybody knows, and they join the bandwagon. And they always discrediting Dr. York, our grand sovereign commander, His Excellency Malachi Z. Kabina York, also known as Padnabal Yananin, was also known as Ali Mamisala Mahdi, was known as Rahakpata, right? That man is an elder. He demonstrated a lot of stuff that he did. That is an elder, 75 years old, a master at a lot that he had experienced and taught. He has millions of students, people that he touched, millions, y'all, all over. And you think your little podcast is going to damage that? No, it's not at all going to damage that. But I'm here to say that, yo, those antisocial characteristics is causing harm. Harm. There are people, podcasts out there that got a lot of views that are not engaged in those type of narratives. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why I get caught in stumbling into these narratives? Why I get caught into these narratives that I'm antisocial? They don't do anything to build. That's the reason why these brothers on Harlem never built anything. That's what I told them. If it was Dr. York, we would have owned a couple of stores right there in 125th Street. March Street would have been ours. The 125 the market. That would have been ours. We have no interest in that. We have to, you know, Panama had stores in Harlem at one time. You know, there were fabric store, the tailor. He was doing a lot of tailoring back then. African clothes, because he brought Africa to us. The clothing, the drumming, and all that. He brought that to us. And he used to tailor African garb. That whole movement, his mom's, his brother, Oba, that whole movement of Africa was very well foundation of that family, especially with our master teacher in Harlem. He just moved it out to Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? But in Harlem, and we was all throughout Harlem. You know, so you know this antisocial characteristic, we got to really pay attention to it. I've done the lives about that, and I listed of how and not to call anybody and say you antisociable, is to make sure that you're not exhibiting those characteristics within yourself. And then through example, you're letting them know. You gotta let them know that the right way, because sometimes the person that's very antisocial doesn't want any help at all, at all. They don't live long at all. They don't want it. You know what I'm saying? But there are those that, you see, they might show little characteristics that they picked up, but then they correct that. Those are not antisocial people. If you're able to recognize these characteristics within yourself and catch yourself, instead of telling you walking with somebody, right? And then that person says, I want to go into that restaurant. Oh, don't go in that restaurant because everybody knows that food they cook rat, cat, rat, and that. No, don't go in there. You know what I'm saying? That's an antisocial characteristic. Who's everybody? You know, who's everybody? Now, even though you're not, if you told me, say, look, as an example, it says, look, I'd rather let's go eat somewhere else, okay? Because I'd rather find something that's going to be agreeable to both of us. You see, me personally, I don't like going in there, but I know you hungry. If you want to, let's find a place together that we can both agree. That's communication. Antisocial person won't do that. Oh, don't eat there. Don't eat there because everybody knows. Everybody says. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to trust you. I'm not going to trust you. I want the truth. Truth. No more trust. Deal with truth. I don't want no faith. I want fate. I want to know the consequences if I do this. You see, that's knowing as opposed to believing things. And so we got to get back into that. You know what I'm saying? In knowing things. You know what I'm saying? That's what this podcast is dedicated to. You know what I'm saying? And again, we got to look at, like I said, these antisocial characteristics, and I use those words, and in our school of thought, like Ansars and Nuwapi, we say black devils. Shade off, black devils. Black devils also always have this amount, but you see, Scientology went and call it antisocial characteristics because again, getting from Kemet, you had it was about building character and personalities. That's what spiritual spirit does. You see the word spirit in the word inspiration. When I inspire you to do good, that's spirit. I'm giving you breath, a part of my spirit. That's spirituality. That's what your spiritual master does. And that's how they did it all the way back in the Nile Valley. They went to a spiritual master. They went there to get what? Inspire. Aspiration is the word. You see the word spirit. Inspiration. Inspire. That's spiritual. I inspire you through music, through art, through my words, through culture, to my exam. I inspire you. That's our spirituality. It's how we inspire ourselves. You know what I'm saying? But then you have, again, spiritual, right? Spiral alternates between positive and negative. Those centrifugal forces and centrifugal forces, right? It's a whirling. So sometimes you got a negative and positive whirling, alternating. So you got, at one point, something could be very antisocial characteristic. You know, as an alchemist, we try to bring it social, and that's by recognizing it. You know what I'm saying? But don't get caught up in that tilt where everything is antisocial for you. You can't fix things around you. You can't complete no damn project. Things are just falling apart around you. You're declining. You're declining. And I refuse. I'm living my second curve, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm living my second curve. After past the age of 40 and 50, it doesn't decline. It shouldn't decline. Even talking about sex, it's testosterone. It shouldn't decline. You should be able to know your body and do what you need to do to keep it going. And a lot of time has to do with mental, and a lot of time antisocial characteristics create this suppressive personality that's distress. You get it? Suppressive, and then the stress in your body that kills your sex drive, it kills your family life, individual life, it just kills the environment around you. It harms things around. So you always saying that why people got good, let's say good luck and bad luck. Why every time I tell you? That's because you're not aware of the antisocial characteristics that might be leaking out of you or might be leaking from your household and your family. You see? And then in our tribe, also, we used to call them black devil. In our tribe was infiltrated by these and our master teacher embraced it because it was a hospital. It was a way for us to heal ourselves from these different characteristics. We should invest in so much in behavioral science, bro. That's why today I'm going to invest my time so much in behavioral science. I'm going to thank you for the compliment, Lamar. I'm going to invest so much into behavioral science because when we get caught up, especially in religion, sometimes, again, like I said, I don't point the finger and say, you're antisocial, you're anti. No, I look within and make sure that I'm not exhibiting that. But in certain religions, one of the, I don't think it's a mistake, but I think one of the things that we experience is that the children was brought up with like the dunya is evil, the dunya, the dunya. But when it comes to time for them to go out into the world, you know what I'm saying? They develop, some of them didn't know how to balance that and develop an antisocial, a suppressive personality. Now they can't get nothing together out there. But then there's some that grew and became very prominent men. I can't tell you who they are. Very prominent. You know what I'm saying? Because they were able to balance themselves. And sometimes you got to go, that's a prodigal son. Sometimes you got to go out of your tribe. But when you come in, that's when the festivity starts. Oh man, that's the story of the prodigal son. You know what I'm saying? We all get there. I was a prodigal son. I spent time, I mean, involving with antisocial personalities and exhibiting all the suppressive personalities. You know what I'm saying? And that type of lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Until finally I was able. I got very very sick. Yo, I got very very sick. I was in the hospital for 5 months. I'm being vulnerable here. I'm telling you, I got very sick. And I'm like, why am I getting so sick? What the hell? My diet wasn't that, because when you have this personality, you start eating things that you normally don't eat. You know what I'm saying? When I was 17 years old in Ansar Allah, I was social. I was building, I was growing. My anything that I touched turned into the might is gold. Everything. You know what I'm saying? It was like you was well powerful. I even talked to Ishmael and I told him, yeah, Abdul Latif, you did the class, and that's what brought him in. And you did the class that you did. He said you were very powerful. He said, oh yeah, those are my golden age. Yes, that Midas touch. You know what I'm saying? That's how we need to vibe. You know what I'm saying? And now we have the wisdom behind us and we can even take it even further. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got very sick. And now I'm saying to myself, yo, no, because I got grandkids and life is beautiful. And death is also something you got to accept and it's beautiful too. But when it's done the right way, tribal, then it becomes a beautiful thing. Like the balloon ceremonies and the ceremonies they have for Abiyaya and Danny and stuff like that. That I couldn't make it, but those are beautiful things. From also my daughter's first husband that passed away from cancer, and we did a balloon ceremony. You know what I'm saying? But then again, like I said, I didn't know that family too well. You know what I'm saying? So I was like just sitting there. But when you have family and you connect with family and on and on and on, and the children hear these stories, yo, they're like, what? You did what? Man, I sat down with my elder Abdul Latif and his children when we started talking about Ansar and talking about the schools we went through and the experience. They were like, yo, I heard about that. Man, what? That's legacy. They know what you're cut from that cloth. You are cut from that cloth. Very important. And in today's time, like I said, barnyard, this is your connection right here. You know what I'm saying? This is your connection right here. You know what I'm saying? Building, we're about building. You know what I'm saying? This is your connection right here. You know what I'm saying? I'll tie you back to the Tentakidar anytime. You know, you can say, and then like I said, we have the festivity and the families, because that's what a festival is all about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I seen that one time. A great sea. It was called the sea. The sea with Jason Momoa, I think it was. I was a good series because they had a festival, and in that festival, you know, the elders, they got down, they did their thing, they got down in the tent, in the tents, whatever. But the children were out playing with other children. They were already picking, and to see how they vibe with each other. You know what I'm saying? It was tribal. And then I'm gonna leave it there. Muysar, I'm gonna leave it there. And you know what I'm saying? And like I said, things we gotta pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot. It's not that hard, but things we got to pay attention to. That helps us, limit the amount of deconstruction and the amount of antisocial behavior. You know what I'm saying? When we understand how blood lineage works and kindred and how that works, how it can impact your family or your ethnic, impact humanity. It's like someone in America does something wrong to Russia or whatever, or to somebody, and all of a sudden all the Americans are going to get it. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened in Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody's looking at all Russians as being, narcissistic, and looking at them as being bullies. But not all Russians are the same. They're not like that. They're not. I met some Russian girls and some Russian guys, in Serbia. They're different. Then they don't they were like not believing that. That's government shit. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody that's an antisocial and a suppressive personality doing what they want to do. But then we all got to put a stop to it. From that global sense. I mean, and we got to make sure that we're putting an end to these atrocities and things. You know what I'm saying? We got to start from you, start from your family, start from your tribe, your nation, and in your community. You know what I'm saying? That's how community is supposed to be set. And back in the days before, I just say this real quickly before I end, because I can speak for a long time. Back in the day, you had lodges, right, that became your churches and your court, right? It all happened in this lodge. And those families, created communities, and they marry amongst the family and family. I think there's a good movie called The Village. The Village by Night Shyamalan, whatever his name is, Night. That movie, The Village, check it out. Families and meeting against families, you know what I'm saying? And marrying within family, creating a community. That's how the first cities were built like that. The first cities were built like that. You know what I'm saying? And this is a product. This is what's going on now. So in the African Kingdom Federation, the Queen of Sheba African, with the new civilization, we want to make sure these houses are set. And there's marriage also. You know what I'm saying? We've got an academy and for children and so and so and so. Hopefully, a nice theme park, an institution. You know what I'm saying? A lot of imagine your son or your grandson going to an academy in the Congo, Mandombe, an academy of the African Kingdom Federation, a full left academy, and meeting each other in the academy. A lot of people meet each other in college, and they come and they have that. They says, well, we all Lambda, Delta, Lambda, all these sororities and stuff, and they meet each other. You know what I'm saying? And this house meets that. Those are house. That's the way it was done. The Greeks did it like that. You know what I'm saying? We have our house today. You know what I'm saying? And we're plenty. Anyway, all the blessings to everyone, and know that I'm here for you, my brothers and sisters, my kindreds. I gotta get out of that brother and sister shit. My kindreds, I'm here for you. My kindreds, kin, I'm here for you, and friends, and friends. Yasar family, and friends. You know what I'm saying? We're here. Okay. Walad. So I'm out. That's it. There you go.